get on the gas a little bit here. We see that we do get increase in the long-term fuel trim again, indicating either fuel delivery issue or bad mass airflow sensor, usually some type of lack of fuel or excess unmetered air generally. Let's get on it again. You see it goes up. Then as soon as I let off the pedal, it goes right back down. I'm just going to pull over somewhere here and look at some enhanced parameter data, see if we still have that weird issue. Actually, let's see what this one looks like with enhanced parameters. All right, so we'll be loading up enhanced parameters now. And I don't need codes. So let's get long-term fuel trim 1. And we see that it's still a little bit high there. Long-term 2. So both of our long-terms are still pretty high. We can just look at the numbers there. Let's turn on the AC, see if they jump up again. There's the AC on, and now they go down. That's just getting stupid now. So I'm pretty confident that my AutoTap, actually they did go up a lot now. All right, I'm not sure what to say about this, but I am not getting any kind of consistency here. I have never seen anything like this. Boy, look how high they're going now. Now again, this is enhanced parameter data, so I'm not sure that this is accurate. All right, so we've got our pretty high fuel trims now. Let's see what happens when I step on the pedal now. We see we get a decrease indicating a vacuum leak again. The numbers drop almost to normal. So, well, there you go. You get into enhanced parameter mode and you have a vacuum leak, and you get into generic mode and you will get a bad MAF or a fuel pump issue. So go figure that. I've still got an inconsistency issue where we're not getting accurate data off of the scan tool in enhanced mode. All right, we're in generic mode again. You see that we're at 0 fuel trims until I get on the gas right now. And when I get on the gas, we get a call for fuel up to almost 20%. Lit off the gas, we're back down to 0% pretty much again on each fuel trim. This is the lowest the fuel trims have been yet. So let's see, I'm at a red light right now. We are... Actually, we just jumped up once I stopped altogether. That's interesting. Let me turn on the air conditioner again and see what happens. Turning on the air conditioner definitely increases fuel trim still, without question. But actually, wait a minute, we're getting a correction here, so, interesting. All right, light's green, I'm going to step on the gas, and you see we get a heavy call for fuel again. Lit off on the gas, back down to 0. On the gas again, 20. Again, we're in generic mode. This is bizarre. All right, it's time to get medieval now. So we're going to do a change in strategy now because there's obviously no vacuum leak. We're really positive we've got no exhaust leak. Mechanical issues are being ruled out quite readily here. Clean mass airflow sensor, although I do probably need to go ahead and check that the mass airflow is accurate. But we've got just so many variables, and the variables themselves change all the time. Just the lean condition changes from being a lean condition at idle to then not being a lean condition at idle, but a lean condition under load. And then initially it was a lean condition that improved under load at the very first. So we're going to have to start using those variables as clues. But I'm about ready to start kind of looking at some PCM issues. But one of the first things I want to do for today, my goal for today, I want to figure out what is going on with that substitute value. I am convinced we've got a substitute value for long-term fuel trim bank 1. And I want to find out where that substitute value is being drawn from. I don't believe that it is a default value from the computer because this value changes all the time. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. So one of the things I want to do first, I want to rule out one other thing I was thinking, and that would be
if bank 2 is stuck in open loop for some reason. In order for that to happen, I'm sure it would need its own coolant temperature sensor. So I am convinced that there is only one coolant temperature sensor on this vehicle. But what I'm going to do now is just look, verify, and even if there was a second coolant temperature sensor, that would throw a code, I'm sure. But I'm kind of fishing right now, to be honest. So we have, let's see, water pump here. So we have a coolant temperature sensor right here that I may be tempted to unplug and see what the effects are, but I don't think we've got bank-specific coolant temperature. And that's also probably why my scan tool only shows bank 1 fuel status as well. But all right, I do not believe we have more than one coolant temperature sensor. That's going to rule out the idea of being stuck only in open loop. So another thing I want to do, I want to try to find out, I've always been looking at this data when the engine is warmed up. Right now the engine's cold, it's been sitting overnight, and what I want to do is go ahead and look at some oxygen sensor and fuel trim data on both banks. I want to see, is this a problem that happens after warm-up? So maybe bank 2 is working properly, but it can't find something it needs and then starts drawing from something else to get this substituted value. So is this something where it's trying to work and it can't find an input or something? I don't know, but a way to find out is to see how it behaves at the very onset of closed loop. So that's what I'm going to try to do next to get more of a clue on what's going on with this substituted value. And then if I can find that out, maybe it'll help me to find where that value is being derived from. The idea is that I just want to see if there's any evidence that this is a problem that starts right after closed loop. And maybe, who knows, maybe it might help me to find where this substitute value is being drawn from. Now, my logic is stating that this has to be drawn from something after the exhaust. It's not something that would be drawn from like the MAP or MAF or anything like that, because we're talking about a substituted value for fuel trim, not for fuel delivery. So if it's a substituted value for fuel trim, I don't see where that would be something that would come with a pre-exhaust sensor. But anyway, what I want to do here is I want to bring up all of my oxygen sensors. Let's bring up long-term fuel trim here and bank 2. Okay, let's see how we're doing there. Yeah, one is way higher than the other. Wow. Here, let me set these to the right, to equal scales real quick here. And sorry, this is probably going to be a real choppy video here, but I'm kind of more thinking than I am trying to explain and show theories of operation and stuff. Right now I'm just kind of in thinking mode trying to fix this. Yeah, so we're pretty high on that long-term 1. So let's go ahead and set him up here. Now, I don't have the engine running because I don't want to have the engine go into closed loop while I'm doing this. I want to see if I can catch some kind of change when we go into closed loop. Let's go here and put in some short-term fuel trims. Okay, let's line those up. Okay, and of course our terms are at 0, but I anticipate there to be some changes, especially if I start doing some propane experiments and stuff. So let's go minus 20 to 20 there, so we can cover if I decide to do propane or induce a vacuum leak. 20. Okay, and then let's add some oxygen sensors, of course. Let's expand that out. Okay, so we've got red as bank 1, green as bank 2 on everything, just for simplicity. Now I also want to put another thing here. Let's see if I can put some kind of open loop, closed loop change status. Let's see where that might be. All right, let's see here. There it is. Okay, so we got fuel system status, bank 1. We've determined that there is only one coolant temperature sensor on this thing, but this will tell us whether we're in open or closed loop. And of course, in open loop right now, I am going to find the source of that substitute value today. Damn it. So let's bring that out, open loop. Now I'm going to go ahead and start the engine, and let's watch for a little bit. Okay, why is oxygen sensor activity so crazy right now? It doesn't seem like we got anything on 2. So green is bank 2. That's kind of interesting right there, actually. Now, I'm not giving this any kind of credibility because obviously we are in open loop. You know what else we need on here? We need engine temperature. That'll give us kind of an idea of when we're getting close. Okay, so we're at 93 degrees already. Let's see what happens. And I'm waiting for our closed loop status here. You know, it's interesting actually, there is something. Why is that changing? So it's already finding, or bank 2 is not doing anything, but bank 1 is adjusting, but not bank 2. There goes our closed loop right there, by the way. And so we're running a little bit rich now, bringing down our fuel trims. That right there is kind of interesting that I'm not getting any reaction on bank 2 on open loop there. Let's see if I do now that we're in close. Nope. And again, typical of a vacuum leak right now, the fuel trim improving to 0 when I give it throttle. Very typical of a vacuum leak. But what's interesting is after a while, that is going to switch. The fuel trim will come down to 0, but then it will get worse. Let's just see what happens here. It looks like we're getting our O2 sensor activity. Now this green line is not real. That is a substitute value. And I am going to find out where that is coming from. And I'm pretty sure that O2 sensor activity on bank 2 is real. I believe that the fuel trim from bank 2 is real. Why is it not using it? Why is it using a substitute value? Now, one thing I will do is validate that these are real signals. That is one goal for today, is to validate that the O2 sensor is real and it's not maybe being borrowed from bank 1, which I don't believe it is because it looks very independent there, but we will look at that. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and add some propane. Let's check one more time, see if... Yeah, see, now we've reversed the situation. When I add throttle, now it gets worse. Just totally opposite responses. I don't quite get that. And again, only a response on bank 1. Bank 2 just sticks right there. And of course, we are in enhanced parameter mode. When we do go into our other mode, the generic mode, we do see both banks responding. But even then, I'm sort of questioning that. But let's go ahead and add some propane real quick. So let's go. O2s should go rich right now. They do. Verifying good O2 sensors. And again, the same thing. We only get a reaction from bank 1 long-term fuel trim, despite the fact both fuel trims go lean on the short term. All right. So removing the propane, of course, we go lean here. We go lean with the short terms. And I'd imagine our long-term fuel trim, well, it's at 0 now. Maybe it will hold there because the short terms are at 0 too. So let's see what happens when we add throttle. Yep, again, totally the opposite of what happened directly after open loop. All right, that is weird. Okay, so what I want to do now is try to repeat that test again verifying that we have independent bank activity here on the O2 sensors. Again, to help verify that this O2 sensor is real. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to bank 2 and I'm going to unplug a fuel injector. Of course, that should cause us to go very lean on bank 2. There it goes, unplugging the fuel injector. We do go lean on bank 2. We respond with the fuel trim here. And, well, now this is different. God, why are there so many freaking variables? Bank 1 is going way rich. Now, why is it not acting independently? Why is that going rich? And is it really rich? Or is that not a real thing? Why are we in open loop right now? Open loop 3. Oh, that must be some kind of error because of the injector code that I've got. Let me just see. You can hear the misfire there. Not sure I like running my car like this too long, but let me see my DTCs here. Probably got a 200. Yeah, there's a 200 on there. See if we can clear that out. That's going to come right back. Let's go ahead and plug it back in. So now we're plugged back in. I kind of want to go under the car and validate that we've got, that's actually happening. And that the O2 sensors really are reporting accurate conditions here. All right, so we're under the car here, and what we're going to do is get generic powertrain here on Auto Ingenuity. So let's bring up the O2 sensors real quick here. And I'm going to reach up here and disconnect bank 2. Bank 2 is going to be the blue trace, so let me go ahead and disconnect bank 2. All right, disconnected bank 2. Notice again, we go way rich on our other oxygen sensor here. So let me go ahead and plug that in and see if it normalizes. But the fact that I plug it in and unplug it is certainly indication that we have communication to the computer on bank 2. We see we got our trace back again. Now, again, I'm wondering, is that trace real? So I'm going to do something to find out. But looks like we're getting a little wicked readings here now. Let me go ahead and unplug sensor 1 without getting my hand burned here. All right, so sensor 1 is going to be red. I'm going to unplug sensor 1. Sensor 1 is now unplugged. We get 0.45 volts. Notice we go way rich on sensor 2 now. And I'm not sure why it's doing that. Now, I want to see if these are real signals. So I'm going to go ahead and plug back in here again. Okay, we're plugged back in with sensor 1 now, and what I'm going to do is this. I've put some back probes into sensor 2, and I want to see if, and again, this is where an oscilloscope would come in really, really, really handy, and I am definitely going to look into getting one. But what I want to do is see, I'm going to go ahead and hook up my voltmeter, and I want to see if what the computer is showing me is actually what I'm reading from the sensor. All right, this is not easy working under the car like this and filming, I'm going to tell you right now. What we're doing here is I've got my voltmeter hooked up with, you know what, let's do this. Let me get rid of sensor 1. So I've got rid of sensor 1 there. So what we're looking at is sensor 2 voltage, and I'm going to go ahead and put my meter up there. God dang it. All right. I don't know what I just did there. I just reset everything. Hold on. Son of a bitch. All right, hang on. Technical issue. All right, somehow I put my meter on something that hit the disconnect button. Ah, wait, I don't want enhanced powertrain either. Son of a bitch. All right, this is the last time I ever make a film underneath a car. We're going generic powertrain here. Make sure everything's right. We got that all good. Okay, so let me go ahead and load this up. I really cannot overemphasize the level of suck right now with trying to film and do this, but I hope you guys appreciate this. All right, let's go over to O2 sensors here. Now, what I want, let's just make it blue to keep consistent. I want, oh, by the way, I just noticed something. Look up here. It does show we are in closed loop on both systems. We got system 1 status closed loop up here, and over here it says system 2 closed loop. So that's kind of interesting. I didn't know that. But it confirms that we're not stuck, at least by the scantool's definition, in open loop on one bank. But what I'm going to do here is we've got bank, that's not what I want. I want bank 2 sensor 1. There we go. Okay, so we got bank 2 sensor 1. And what we're going to do is I'm going to set this voltmeter up here, and we're going to see if it seems to match. And it sure seems to go up to a high voltage. I don't remember seeing 1.5 volts before from a sensor. That might be a little unusual, but whatever the case is, the O2 sensor does seem to be congruent both with the voltmeter and with what the PCM is seeing. Now, is this real data though? Well, yeah, it is, because this voltmeter, the voltmeter is real data. I don't know that the computer screen is real data, but let's do this. Let me go ahead and unplug sensor 1. So that's not the one we're looking at right now. This is on the other side. Let me go ahead and unplug sensor 1. And let's see here. And we're holding rich, and we are holding rich, as a matter of fact, with the voltmeter. So it does look like bank 2 is reporting accurately to the computer. Let's get fuel trim bank 2. There's short-term fuel trim bank 2. Let's get long-term fuel trim bank 2. Let's go back to that O2 sensor. And that O2 sensor is running rich. We are seeing that it literally is actually rich. And then when we go here, we do not have what appears to be fuel trim response on it. Now let me just test that by inducing a vacuum leak. Okay, I'm inducing a major vacuum leak. Let's look at our O2 sensor. We're way lean. We're also way lean here. And we are not getting fuel trim. Neither short nor long term. Now I wonder, do I have any trouble codes that is preventing this? No, I do not. Let me just clear these just to be sure. If we had an O2 sensor trouble code, I can see where it might not use the data. Okay, so we're still running very lean. We're showing that as an actual real reading from the O2 sensor. We are not getting fuel adjustment at all. None. Now we got to try this on the other bank. Okay, now I've got bank 1 plugged in, so of course it is going lean. Let's look and see if we've got fuel trim from bank 1 now. And orange and green down here. Let's see, what are my numbers here? I don't know, but everything's going lean. So we are getting response there. Let's look at our O2 sensors. The O2 sensor is very lean. All right, wow, look at our fuel trims, way high. So we got the green line is short-term bank 1, the red line is short-term bank 2. So they're pulling up our long terms, which are both at max. They're both at max at 25. Actually, you know what? Let me unplug number 2 and see what happens. All right, I'm going to unplug oxygen sensor number 2. And let's just see what that does. Okay, so sensor 2, and it's almost killing the engine. Sensor 2 reads 0.45. Let's look at our fuel trims. And we've got down in orange, bank 1 is only at 10 and bank 2 only at 17. We've stopped, as soon as I unplugged that bank 2 sensor, we stopped doing fuel trims. So that's exactly what happened. We are no longer doing fuel trim on either bank as a result of unplugging sensor 2. Let me go ahead and plug sensor 2 back in. Okay, sensor 2 is plugged back in. We see we're now getting fuel trim response. All right, I wonder what will happen if I unplug sensor 1 now. All right, sensor number 1, bank 1, sensor 1 unplugged, and we are still getting fuel trim response as of now. And now we're probably not going to, because something just changed. So our long-term fuel trims are holding steady. We are no longer getting short-term fuel trim on either bank. Try resetting these codes again. Yeah, we're getting a couple idle speed codes. Interesting, we're not getting an unplugged oxygen sensor code. Let's clear that, see if that helps. And we have stopped doing fuel trim again with that sensor unplugged. So why we've got sensor 2 plugged in, but sensor 1 is unplugged and we are not getting any fuel trim, but it held at the last known fuel trim for the long term. All right, so I went ahead and plugged back sensor 1, and we've got our short-term fuel trims coming back. Okay, so now I'm back probed into bank 1 sensor 1. We've got bank 1 sensor 1 voltage on the screen, and we're looking to see if we coordinate readings. Why does the voltage go up so high like that? That is kind of strange. I don't know that you're supposed to be reading 1.5 volts, but it does seem like it is fairly congruent. We're at a lean stretch right there, and it shows lean, and then we jumped up rich, and it, boy, this is why you need an oscilloscope, but it does look like there's coordination. I want to go ahead and unplug sensor 2. All right, sensor 2 is unplugged, and we generally get a really funky reading from bank 1 when I unplug. There it goes. So it's showing rich, and it actually is indeed rich according to the voltmeter.